I'm the chair of the Environmental Justice and Sanitation Committee. Today is February 19, 2025. It's 6 p.m. First, we're going to do introductions. So say your name and organization or where you come from. You could start.
Stephen Palmer's Community Coordinator, Bronx Community Board 1.
Elijah Rodriguez, Vice Chair, Department of EJ and Sanitation. I'm with Nos Quedamos as a youth organizer as well.
John Sanchez, youth leader, and we stay Nos Quedamos.
Right here, Archie.
Oh, Argelia Ortiz. Everyone just knows me as Archie, also Sergeant of Arms and Secretary of the Immigration Committee. Hi, everybody.
Good evening. Sorry I'm late. Matthew Shore from South Bronx Unite.
Hi, I'm Ava. I'm a volunteer outreach and engagement coordinator with the Bronx is Blooming.
Hi, I'm Marina Samuel. I'm with the Mont Haven Herald.
Hi, I'm Diana Leonard, Mont Haven resident.
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Jordan, District Manager to the board. Just want to remind each person that our committee meeting is being broadcast live on our YouTube channel, Bronx TV1. Please subscribe and also follow us on social media, Bronx Community Board 1 on Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp and X and there's one more, but I was sitting on mine. Please make sure you speak clearly, concisely when speaking, so that our recording device will be able to get your name and affiliation to the board. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. Right now we have Bronx is Blooming, so he wanted to make a motion to amend the agenda. So can somebody make a motion to amend the agenda to include Bronx is Blooming to the agenda for new business?
I make the motion to amend the agenda for Bronx is Blooming.
I second it.
Yeah. Any discussions here? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Okay, so you go to new business now. So Ava Chow from Roses Blooming, you have a few minutes to talk about your flyer, right? And then tell us about what this is. Come up.
I have it here.
Oh, okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ava. I'm a volunteer outreach and engagement coordinator with the Bronx is Blooming. We're an environmental stewardship and revitalization organization located in the Bronx in the Highbridge neighborhood. We do a lot of work in parks all over the Bronx. In this district, we work in St. Mary's Park quite a bit. And I'm just here to promote, well, first of all, our upcoming events, which are happening starting next month. We have a lot of volunteer projects, so check out our website at bronxisblooming.org. And also, we are currently giving away trees for Bronx residents, organizations, and schools, also community gardens. So if you know anyone who is able to take care of trees or plant them in the Bronx, let me know. I also have a flyer here. And if you'd like to chat about volunteering with us or any other Bronx is Blooming related, events or partnerships, let me know.
Anybody here have questions for Ava? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ava.
Thank you.
So next one is to get a letter of support for a PICO plan. So we've been talking about PICO plans for me for like more than 8 years. And so something that the committee could do is to actually have it stand out about board members, right? To have a letter of support. And one proposal is in the letter of support, to include what to do with the area of the PICO plan, okay? So you don't have another PICO plan in the future, okay? Doing something who knows what it is. So right now, discussion. So we have a discussion. So any questions in discussion? Right?
Give me a briefing again of the PICA plan situation, just brief.
So I mean, it hasn't been talked about lately, but
Yeah.
the last thing I heard was like that NIPA was still talking about the picket plants. That they wasn't sure if they were going to take it out or not. I think it was 2031 that they were thinking about it, but after that, I don't know anything about it. So unless Cedric, why am I calling him Cedric? Anthony Jordan, I apologize, Anthony.
That's okay.
So Anthony, do you know anything
Sure.
about?
So historically, as if I may remember that, so historically, the community board for since I've known my predecessor and Hassan Soldado, continuously pushing the administration to deliver on its promise. The Beacon plant was alternative power, as I understand it. Someone can correct my knowledge, but probably a little rusty. Was created as a temporary solution to power shortage in our community, but it has enormous amount of environmental impact to our community and to the state. And so have been, as a environmentally conscious community board, have been writing letters to the administration, to the state administration, asking them to deliver on their promise to be able to shut down this particular power plant and or to at least deliver on the promise where it had some time ago. I'm going to kind of my other colleagues who maybe have some more knowledge about this to talk about the time frame. I think it's been it was originally supposed to close down in
So I think it was like 2035 or 2045. But NIPA has they every few years they renew the permits for these power plants. And so in 2023, they had a public hearing about renewing the permit for, I believe it was the Harlem Yards power plant, which is 2 peakers. And so we, at South Bronx United, we told the community, like, listen, this is happening. Get involved with this public hearing, make your voice be known. If you don't want these peaker plants, let them know. If you don't want them to renew the permit, let them know. So we were able to get some people from the community to testify, and we testified as well that the permit should not be renewed for this. The state should adhere to its climate goals and the laws that it passed, such as the CLCPA, Climate Leadership Community Protection Act, which strives to reduce these emissions, in quote unquote disadvantaged communities that have borne the brunt of pollution and such. So the other thing and last thing to mention about NIPA is they had a draft strategic plan in 2024 that was released to the public about what are they going to do with their infrastructure in the upcoming years. And the backstory to that is that there was legislation passed in Albany called the Build Public Renewables Act, which doesn't require the state but urges the state by 2030 to create 15 gigawatts of clean energy. But in the draft strategic plan that NIPA released last year, they only are proposing to produce less than 5 gigawatts. So at the hearings that they had across the state in regards to the draft strategic plan, we went to the one that they had in New York City, which was, in John Jay College. And you had a lot of organizers across the city that came out to that. Val Lorney, who's on the community board, we joined with her and we spoke out about the draft strategic plan and how it should strive to create 15 gigawatts by 2030, which would pressure them, NIPA, to look at infrastructure like the 4 people plants that we have in the neighborhood and, take action earlier than later.
And Mr. Chairman, I want to, if I can read it to the record, the last letter we wrote to the state regarding the Pico power plant and our position asking to close.
Yeah, that was that come through the committee or it was?
It was this last year, so it came to the full board. This committee was not in existence at that time, but the full board took a position about this particular issue at the last time that they did a Title V air permit renewal for the Harvard Yard plan. So we were like, so this is something that we continuously are doing, and which led to the creation of this committee. Why is because of not only this particular issue, but so many egregious environmental injustices that have been impacting the Mount Haven, Port Morris, and Melrose communities under the Community Board One. And it's this reading in part. Community Board One serves the residents of Mount Haven, Melrose, and Port Morris. The boundaries of our district is comprised of the Harlem River, east of 149th Street, Park Avenue, and east 159th Street, east 161st Street, Prospect Avenue, and east 149th Street, and the East River. On behalf of our residents of the district, the Bronx Community Board Number One is requesting that the following actions be taken into consideration before the application was approved to renew the permit for the Harlem River um, yards Pika plants, define the address and cease the environmental and health injustices that have plagued this district for decades. Number one, compliance with CLPA laws. This district has been designated as one of the most disadvantaged communities in the entire state of New York. This district has borne out, an outsized share of the pollution burden associated with the New York City electrical and production to date, resulting in a high incidence of health-related problems for our residents in the district within the confines of the district, both in NAPA, New York City Power Authority, and DEC operate two Pico power plants, one located in the Harvard River Yard site and the other within a few blocks of the Harvard River Yards. The Hellgate both continue scheduled to emit high levels of greenhouse gases, which is inconsistent with the CLPA mandate and the city laws to reduce greenhouse gases to address climate change. The letter goes on to read, Chair, it is imperative that this application is reviewed comprehensively and include reduction in its operations of the peaking plant or measurable goals to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. We also are requesting that DEC schedule a public hearing the time requiring the matter under 6 NYCRR Part 621.8. The failure to do so is unacceptable. DEC must immediately act to phase out the state's fossil fuel generating and replace it with renewable energy and storage to alleviate the disproportionate pollution burden from energy generation in its disadvantaged community. The letter goes on and to specifically pointed out ways that this committee or this board acts for these actions to be taken, working in conjunction with some of our environmental justice organizations in the community, because this has been something that when originally was open, it was a promise some time ago in my young environmental justice days, promises of elimination, and it's been renewed decade beyond decade without any foreseeable future of it being offset and using other renewable energy methods. And so this is why organizations like South Bronx Unite and so many of the other organizations were created to continue to point out the total, direct injustices environmentally to our community. And so I just want to talk about some of the work that we've done and what started your tenure as chair, because we need to help bring this to board-wide viewpoint of saying that this, along with waste transfer stations and other ways that we need to be looking at ensuring that we need to stand on business, as we have people say about ensuring that environmental justice is not a yesterday problem only, but it's going to be tomorrow problem if we don't move forward. So I thank you for your leadership, and I recommend to the board today take action on working together with our colleagues and the environmental justice agencies to support the closure of this. Thank you, Chair.
This is going to sound so controversial to some people. So it does like I don't know how to say it. I'm very careful when people talk about renewables, right? Right. So just because a couple of years ago, a converter station. It was being proposed to be put right next to the what's the name of the commercial district? The Theory Street,
Bronx Terminal.
Bronx Terminal Market. So Bronx Terminal Market, they want. So there was this company that wanted to put a converter station there because renewables require converter stations from AC to C power. So, uh, so then there was not a lot of research to see how it would impact people, but there some of these converter stations were actually built in Europe, and then some people are saying that people experience some people were getting leukemia. Uh, so these studies were not done in the United States. They were done in other European countries that are going to renewables. So anyway, so you got to be specific. If that site is renewables, I don't want it to be a converter station. Uh, so that's why I brought this here. To for the alternatives to be something that doesn't hurt us because these pickup plants were supposed to be the future when they were built in that time period. It was supposed to be the future. So right now we talk about the future again. So we just try to be very careful of how we word these things. So it'd be like solar panel or something like that is fine, right? Be strictly writing this solar panels. We don't want converter stations, you know. And then if they can't do that, we why not turn it into a park, right? It's right next to the waterfront. We don't have a lot of park access, right? And that space is also right next to what's up Bronx United looking at, right? To the pier, right?
Right.
So connected to the pier. So that's why I brought this up. So to include those alternatives, right? You say like instead of saying that something might happen, that we're gonna do this, they don't do anything. So and I always been the type of person that proposes things. It says that we need $100 million or whatever to put a proposal to make this into an alternative energy, but not a converter station, not something that might harm people. And then focuses on other issues that have to do with we don't have a lot of green spaces, right? That combines those issues. So that are you saying that because I'm very careful with renewables because a lot of this technology, a lot of these minerals come from other countries. You have gigawatts of energy, you require a lot of minerals that they don't come from the United States. They come from the Congo. Congo is cobalt. 75% of the cobalt comes from the Congo. You know what happens to that country? They are controlled by other nations, to extract those minerals. And then the Congo also has other minerals that are being extracted in order for this technology to happen. So in my country as well, in Guatemala, we are used for as extracting place for things that we have here. So I would say have a good balance with renewables because fossil fuels have to be phased out, but don't go to it like have huge infrastructure in which it damages other countries. So it always has to be a good balance with these things. That's why I bring this up for people to have a discussion. I'm not against renewables. I'm just against people putting all the effort to have huge infrastructure and then in return we damage everything else. So we don't want to have the people crash again. So those things that you wrote there are very useful, right? But then for me, I would just add to have a good proposal for us to say this is what we know. We're not gonna accept again to have another pico plant. Renewables. This is we want to either a park or renewables here on the spot. That also doesn't affect our health. That's just me. Any other discussions? And then, since we have quorum, we vote on it to have this letter to report, including those things that I said. to have a proposal and say either we have a park, we have renewable energy, and be strong about it. We can't accept any more of that. Right? So you have anything?
A question, you mentioned your report, sorry if I missed it, is this for the district needs, or is this a different report?
No, he's asking for, if the committee wants to release a letter to the state, again, demanding the closure or the plan for closure, and the move for open green space or put this
Solar
on
panels
or solar panels within the
Infrastructure.
infrastructure that's going to be an alternative plan to the soon to be closure of this facility. So this is what the chair is recommending, is now opening up for discussion so that we have designed the wording and the body of the letter, what the community board, this committee asking for, and take that to the full board meeting. So the letter could be drafted by the team and be signed and sent over to the governor and to the commissioner, the state Department of Environmental Conservation.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yes.
okay. What I have to really comment on a questionable level, this letter of support is demanding the plan for closure of the Pika plant situation. Is that what that letter is all about?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a good idea, and I will support it. I think we should all be on board with that. The only thing that I will add to that is, I know that a lot of the neighboring districts are also, would probably also like to join us on that. So I think we should reach out to them kind of, because the whole area going all the way, I was the other day at a meeting about like that Sheridan Expressway at the Hunts Point and that Market Street and everything, and a lot of things that they were saying there are very similar to where the concerns were expressing. You know, so I think definitely we should do that letter of support. And I also think that the other districts are gonna want to join us in it. So I think that's a great idea, and I think that maybe, we should reach out to, like, I know District One, District Two, which is a district that goes all the way up to, into even like the Yankee Stadium area. They got concerns like that too. And I bet you they're gonna wanna join us and maybe even sign that letter with us. Okay, so I think that would be even a bigger impact. And I wonder if we could maybe find a way to, you know, discuss that with them.
Okay. Like a point.
Yeah,
Both
the
Ministry of
point
Justice.
has a lot of concerns that are very similar.
Yeah. I used to work at the point, so
Mm-hmm.
discussion. I think I know South Bronx United that with the Hart building, right? You sent a petition, right? Like you had a lot of organizations sign it, right? In order to support the Hart building. So maybe something that we could do as well. Do model as to what you were doing the last time. I know because I signed it. So we could do that to have a larger one. But right now, this one is just strictly the board, right?
Yeah.
So it's on paper. This is what we decided to do together, right?
Okay, yeah,
And
and I'm in
then-
full agreement with
And
that.
then the
I
other
think-
one is the petition. Like we could draft something outside of it, where let's say someone
Okay.
tonight to draft a petition saying that this is what the board voted for, and then
Mhm.
we want this to happen. We're not looking again like, oh, this is what happens here all the time. It's like we ask for something, they don't do anything about it. For me, I'm very direct. We close the picker plants, and these are two alternatives that's way better than the picker plants. That's me. That's why I always felt all my years. Always have an alternative to this situation. So that's what I'm trying to propose here with the letter of support, adding the two alternatives: green infrastructure, either solar panels, green infrastructure, or a park, instead of having pico plants. And be strong about it, because right now it's like, what's happening in the government and everything. So yes, that's. Any more discussion? You have a question?
Well, I wanted to see if anybody else. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we happy to, provide any suggestions on the language, and the way it's going to be drafted. Happy to do that, and available to do that. I think it's a great idea. Have our support. And the other thing to mention is, the state could fund this. The state has the Bond Act, billions of dollars. They could fund it. There's a lot of different things that we could point to, promises from the state that we could reference in this letter. The other thing is the city is doing an industrial plan right now. And maybe I mentioned that at the last month's meeting, but the city is doing an industrial plan. They're planning to do community engagement about the industrial plan. For those of you who don't know, the industrial plan is something that the city has been mandated to do. It's the first ever industrial plan they've created, and it's to strengthen their industrial sector, whatever that means. But one thing that they're considering in that work, and if you look at their online survey on the Department of City Planning's website, they are looking at environmental injustices. They're looking at quality of life. They're looking at these impacts on communities, which is unprecedented. And so we're actually meeting Bronx tonight, tomorrow with the Department of City Planning, because they should be doing more community engagement, not just doing an online survey. They should be meeting with community in community. So, so far, to my knowledge, they've only been meeting with industrial businesses. And we know our community is so impacted by the industrial areas. So we'll keep this committee posted about that. Would love for the Department of City Planning to meet with everybody. It's tomorrow in the morning, like 10 a.m.
Where?
It's a virtual meeting.
It's virtual?
Virtual meeting?
Can you send me the link?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, one at a time.
Also, and I think I would.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Okay, so just wanted to mention that, and that's something we could, strategize around as well.
Okay.
You have my number, right? That's if you need.
So,
Perfect.
Like you always do. And thank you so much. And it's virtually, I think I'm gonna, tune in.
Okay, sounds good.
so right now we have to make a motion, right? So I cannot make the motion because I'm the chair. So, who wants to make a motion? Some of the recommendations I have, but I cannot say it. So somebody has to say the motion. Maybe we can vote on it. Who wants to do it?
Well, okay, I make a motion that, this letter gets support, right? That's what we're making a motion on, and I'm in agreement that the letter definitely should be, written, and I make a motion to support the letter,
I'll second this motion.
okay?
Discussion on the motion? No discussion? Roll call?
I could discuss real quick.
You guys, okay.
I really like what the letter does represent, and I like how we're targeting NIPA directly for their peaker plants, because it seems like they've been a prevalent problem for a really, really long time, and they've just been constantly renewing their permits and their licenses. So it's good. I think it's good. I feel like we're supposed to think of it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Anybody else?
Roll call.
Roll call.
The City of New York, Bronx Community Board 1, Environmental Justice and Sanitation Committee, February 9th. Roll call on the writing support for closure of the New York State Eco Power Plant. Matthew Shore. Jelly Ortiz.
Yes.
Vice Chair Elijah Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. John Sanchez.
Yes.
Chairperson York.
Yes.
Motion and passed. Chairman.
Motion passed. Awesome. Okay, so right now we're gonna go to old business, right? So, the first one is cleanup updates. So Matthew knows a little bit about this, right? Because he was at the meeting, right? Also Stephen as well. So I'm going to just summarize a little bit of the cleanup. Some of you that are new or haven't been here. So one thing that we have in this neighborhood is sanitation issues. There's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of littering happening in the neighborhood. If we don't get a lot of resources from the city, right? And then it was like, as community members, we have to do something, even though we're not getting those resources. Uh, to come together, like, to have a major cleanup in the whole district. Not only cleanups like usual cleanups only happening on one side and everybody forgets about it. It's more like showing community power and support by all of us doing different sites at the same time. And it's on Earth Day, and then it was supposed to be an Earth Day, but we have organizations that they have their own schedules, and it's very difficult to do it on Earth Day. Uh, so there was discussion with Sunburst Night, the Third Avenue bid, as Nos Quedamos, right? And then uh, Community Board One will be sponsoring this event, but it's supposed to be multiple cleanups throughout the year, at least three cleanups a year, in order to show people that we care about our neighborhood, right? Not have elected officials talk about politics or anything like that. Have members of the community talk and have presentations about each stuff and also organizations. So that's the main idea about these things. To A lot of people talk about resources. No, I came from a third world country. I'm from Guatemala, and when you talk about resources, we didn't have any. The government was corrupt, right? And then so the community got together and they cleaned up. It was relatively clean when I was growing up. So it's not about poverty, right? I know there's systemic issues and stuff like that, but we have to find a way to show that if we are together, we could do these things. We could do the best that we can, and that's the whole reason for this cleanup. You know, uh, like I said, Sabros Night, Third Avenue bid, and then Nos Quedamos, right? We've been in talks for since last, I think, November, right?
AMC's office.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Thank you. So Alexandra Ocasio Cortez as well. You know, she has a section of the district here, so she cannot do this side here because this is not her district, like Lincoln. But she could do St. Mary's Park because it's her district, and also some sections of the Third Avenue, no, 138th Street corridor. A lot of people talk about the Third Avenue bid, but you also have the 138th Street corridor. They don't get a lot of recognition as to businesses, but they've been here for a long time. So, so we picked. So we have three sites. Proposed right now is from Willis, 138th Street, and Willis to Bruckner. The other one is the Willis Avenue Playground, and the third site is the Rental Clemente Square. Uh, for we're going to also all the way to St. Mary's Park. Clean up those areas, right? It's from the cleanup is planned from 2 to 3:30, right? Each site 2 to 3:30. They do the cleanup. The Third Avenue base has a different one. They will do 2 to 6 because from 4 to 6 is actually special events, having nonprofits talk about EJ issues and sanitation issues, having DJ there as well, and they having a presentation like like a screen, they having a projector, which I have, showing renewable energy. So I have a generator that has a solar panel, that has solar things, so and they try to show like we don't have to be in the grid. So I'm gonna bring that there. Then later on, hopefully talk to NIPA. Maybe they could bring something that is off grid. Uh, teach people about uh, solar. Teach them about renewable energy, right? Its limits, its potential, and then also have community unity. So, so this is what's happening. It's still being planned, right? So I know Stephen, the form, right? You said you mentioned the form that you would do,
Yeah.
right? So anything else that mentioned that you would do?
No, just that. I do have a suggestion though. I know you're partnering with a lot of organizations for different cleanups. I know Skedamos will be doing the Department of Sanitation's the foundation to sign up.
Sanitation Foundation.
Right. So I believe you should extend ask the other organizations that are partnering with us to do the same, just to help get more as much supplies as we can. Um, the community board will still try to reach out to other agencies to see if they're willing to donate some supplies to us if they can. There's no guarantee, but we have to find supplies where we can, and
Okay.
that's my suggestion.
So I mean, I need stated literally on the emails, but I did tell organizations that they could seek sanitation foundation funding without the community board. That was done a few emails back. You say that's what Notre Dame would say. You could do it yourself. South Bronx United could do it themselves as well, right? And then community board one could do it themselves. So and then the other thing we have the Department of Sanitation provides materials, right? So then they say for 3 sites. That's the reason why we chose 3 sites right now. It used to be 4, right? And then because trying to make it easier, now only 3 sites. They provide funding, right? I mean, they provide materials, and the other one is I sent a proposal to our foundation to get $1,000 for materials. That's through my organization, the Bronx 64 Resistance. I have my own nonprofit, so I could myself could send I do a proposal. So I sent it out. So hopefully I get that. So that's to get some materials. Then so AOC probably could get their own materials from their site. So the ones that we have, they need support is Nos Quedamos, right? Third Avenue Bid, and then South Bronx United. You need support for that, right? So the sources that we're trying to get materials from is the Department of Sanitation. The other one is the Sanitation Foundation, and the one that probably Stephen and Anthony is the Parks Department to get that. Uh, and then also Foundation because they do it monthly. So multiple organizations could go to the Also Foundation and apply, right? To get materials, right? That's the one I did because they do it monthly. Uh, and the other one spoke to the Sanitation Foundation because they said they would support it, the cleanup, and then I broke down like what we would need, right? So like we need gloves, you need special gloves because you got needles and things like that. You don't want to hurt yourself. So uh, pickers, right? Little pickers, garbage bags, and all this stuff. So that was sent to them last week. I told them we're gonna need at least 24, max it would be 50, right? 50 people, and I will see what they could do. Maybe they could tweak what they usually do, because Sanitation Foundation you only could get about 10 things. So, but this is a huge project, so it tried to see if they could actually make it a little bit bigger than the usual requirements, right? So those are the talks right now. What's happening, and then so outreach efforts is planned for March, right? Outreach efforts to have a flyer, to have a RSVP form, right? That Stephen could do something that has the 3 sites, and then people could RSVP for each of the sites, right? Whatever site they want to do, and then from there we would know what we would need, right? And things like that. And then food, AOC could provide their own food. So the idea is to have AOC have the third 138th Street section inside Mary's. So they could provide some food inside Mary's in 130th Street section. So then for people for Roberto Clemente Square can go to St. Mary's get food, right? Because the AOC could provide for that. That will help the community board not because I know we have funding issues, right? So and then Third Avenue Bay said they might have some funds to have food and things like that. But everything comes down to basically the RSVP, how many people will show up. Because then we don't know, how much food we will need and what things we need. So that's what's happening. It's being planned right now. It's being planned, and then probably in 2 weeks to have a better idea of what's going to happen. So we're going to have the next meeting, right? With the groups, including the community board, right? And then we proceed from there to see what's going to happen. So that's the all business cleanup updates, right? Anybody have any questions? Clarity?
Yeah, the only question I have, I think this is great. Um, uh, well, outreach, I like, you mentioned AOC will get material for the site over there in her district side, right? Um, I bet you Congressman Richie Torres would like to give us material for the rest of the avenue, happily, because I think he's very much involved with, and also Councilman Salamanca,
Uh,
who is,
I reached out to Richie about these
yeah,
things,
tell me what happened, tell me.
and then they will say there were. I forgot his name, the representative from Richie State.
Courtney or Victor.
Victor,
What was the outcome of that?
nothing. They didn't do anything about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I spoke to them and they said we're going
and
to do this.
he's part of the environmental committee over in DC, so I'm surprised that he didn't. So that means that his staff is ignoring us. That's what that means to me. And I don't think he's aware of that.
So,
Okay? So they didn't answer you at all?
no, I was having a conversation with a person and then I sent an email. Nothing came out of that.
So that means your email, you didn't get any kind of response in
No.
your email. I think we have to follow that up with something else then. Because I find it really strange. Councilman Richie Torres is the one that talked about the littering and so forth in the district.
Yes.
And there was a whole symposium that he had sponsored about that. So I'm positively sure that he's gonna want to support us on that. And if his staff, he doesn't have a very good staff. I wonder, is he aware of that? I mean, that's just my opinion. So what you're telling me, they didn't respond to your email at all?
No.
You know what? I'm gonna be posting
Well,
on myself.
well, we could do because it was like you want to, Anthony or Steve, right? You just do reach out to them.
We can do it again.
You
Right?
do it again. Reach out to
The
them.
same
That
channel.
this is a
Okay,
community board thing.
Let me know, sir. Anthony, I'm gonna be in touch with you about that. I wanna know what the outcome of that is. You should get a response within a week about that, okay? Um, yeah, but I wanna know I'm gonna be in touch with Anthony about that and I wanna know what is the response to that email, and if they continue to not respond, um, I'm gonna bring it up to another level. Okay, because I go to their meetings at the congressman's office. Okay, and and I'm surprised to hear that they didn't respond to the email that our board is sending.
Yeah.
So thanks for letting me know. Okay, I didn't know they were that. And again, I think the councilman Salamanca, this is his district.
Ali,
Okay, he's getting ready to run for borough president.
I need to talk to him. I would say let me come back a little bit. So the first thing that I did was reach out to organizations because I don't want to make it too political, right?
Yeah.
It was like the strategy was them first, right? Them first, like we get together, organizations get together first, right? And then it was like in my area, the AOC came over because I was having the discussions about these things, about sanitation and about the cleanup. And then I was talking to Florella, I think it was the name. So then that's when it came out. It was AOC, can AOC support her side of the district because right now you're our congressperson in my district. So that's when the conversation came out. And now people were asking me, what about Salamanca? And and then Richie Torres. So then I was okay. So Victor something, I think his name. So and then I was having a conversation with the person, and they said, "Can you email?" So it's two contacts. First conversation, then the email. Nothing happened after that. So it was that. And then for me, I'm the type of person that don't wait for people. About you don't respond, it keep going. So that's the way the approach I took. Whoever could do this, that's always been how I work in my life. So, we have a lot of resources here. We don't need politicians to do a lot of these things. A lot of organizations have resources for if we combine our resources together, we are very powerful people. So that was the mindset behind that. But for me, after that situation, it was I just got to keep going. So it was that, but we should after you said that we should contact the person. We should contact that because he's our rep for this district, right? He has a responsibility for this area. So yeah, so that's
Well,
what we
he
should do.
gave a whole forum about the pollution and littering and so forth.
Yeah.
He was the one that, it was his office that sponsored that in DC. So that's why I'm saying he should be responding to all these things.
Okay.
Okay, so I think, I don't know, I personally feel that the congressman is not aware of the fact that his staff has not responded to you.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's the root of that situation, but we're gonna follow up,
Okay.
and I'm gonna be on the alert about that,
Awesome.
okay?
Matthew.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the needle, safe needle pickup. Are you familiar with the group One Point NYC?
No.
Yes.
Mhm.
Board member in several times.
So remember Ben from the third Avenue bid that
Right.
he knew somebody that knows that stuff.
Yes.
He was going to get in contact with that person. So that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with the RSVP. That's what is going to be asked as well. Are people familiar with picking up needles and things like that?
But the thing about it is On Point NYC, they're like they're they know they
They know
have
it's
the
been.
qualifications to do that, and so they are happy to whenever there's a community cleanup event, they're happy to um, examine the grounds, the premises before the community comes in and picks up the regular litter. So they could actually pick up the needles before the community cleanup event itself takes place.
Okay.
You would have to notify them in advance. The other thing is if we have, I know some of the community cleanups like ours and ALCs will be in city parks property. So Partnership for Parks, there's a group we're connected with. They also know On Point NYC, and they make sure that On Point NYC comes in and does that cleanup, the safe needle pickup before community cleanup events occur. So that's something easy, to arrange. But I just wanted to flag that.
Okay.
And I want to add to what Madison is that yes, we also in advance to advance understanding this is happening, we also got equipment from the Department of Health for folks who are interested, not just for this event, but to be certified. If you do have to be certified as a um, hazardous, I think it's correct, hazardous material training in the Department of Health, so that it includes wearing special gloves and everything else when doing any particular cleanup, especially given the environment, to ensure that there are no issues of liability, but also people getting hurt, and that young people who are just there trying to help out, and parents may not be properly supervising them. So that's a good avenue to take, maybe to have this organization who has that committed group of people who have that training, but the training is also, we got commitment from the Department of Health to train community board members and others who are going to be hopefully in advance registering to volunteer to be part of this cleanup, to be able to be trained so that they will have that extra training if there is any left over, so that they should be the only ones participating next. So in other words, no one who is not received that training chair should not participate in this cleanup. Given the two-step prompt that we're taking, one, if we do invite on point to be able to do the events, needle pickup, and just in case there are extra needles, that all the people who are part of this training take that, or part of this cleanup should take that training so that there's no liability or other concerns in play. That's just my thought about it. I just think that even if we don't touch needles, we should be training in case someone, so we should have, we as a board, have taken the steps to say that we felt, Matthew Shore, he registered in advance to participate in the cleanup. We know he's designated to be a volunteer that the community board knows, and he has taken the training that the community provided with the Department of Health to do hazardous material cleanup to participate in the cleanup that day. Or are you saying that no one should touch the pyramid? We should leave it to on point, period.
The second one, that would, I think it would be easier lift.
Right.
And, people are
So like the night before or like a couple hours before?
I think they do it. Usually, what my understanding is a couple hours before, which is the best.
To ensure that nothing's gonna go down.
Right.
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 So because you're overnight, then you come all over again.
Right.
So the chair. So but
Yeah, they're doing multiple sites or just one site? Because we have like multiple sites.
I think if we notify them well in advance, they might be able to arrange multiple sites.
But we know the sites already. We approved it already.
Right. So those sites that were approved, they could as long as we notify them, as soon as possible, basically. I think they could arrange for it.
Okay.
So we can share that with the board by email. The contact person, if you have someone at On Point, Stephen already has a relationship with the director. We'd love to know whatever we need to do in advance to the date that the committee agrees.
Oh, it's April 12th. So sorry, I forgot about that. So that April 12th is the date.
What time?
Okay, so the Third Avenue bid has from 2 to 6 because they have an event, right? They're also doing a cleanup on an event. The other organization is like 2 to 3:30 cleanup. So yeah, like for the Willis Avenue Playground, that's you, right? So then the AOC is 138th Street. So 2 to 3:30. We didn't want it to go over 2 hours because people get tired.
Third Avenue bid, Nos Quedamos, South Bronx.
The AOC. Yeah.
And that's 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, and then Salamanca and Richie. That would be the other people. So but you could deal with this area, in Salamanca as well.
Or Ayala.
Ayala.
I mean, I know you just multiple sites. Open it, just leave it open.
I just don't want it to be like my concern. He does like they go to the site and they want to make a speech. No, he does. I think it has to be stated that this is a community-based thing. This is not. It sounds bad to say this is not political. It's for you to make a political speech. This is for the community, give the resources, and the community make speeches for themselves. That's the goal. So that's the reason why AOC, when they were talking to the staff, AOC wasn't invited to do anything, to make a speech or anything. Because it's not about them.
So for the record, 3 to 6 for Third Avenue bid, which is we should do it before dawn, before the night falls, so that we have total visibility when cleaning up the items. So I think we should narrow it to make sure that the bid when it's going to be the actual cleanup time for the bid.
Yeah, the cleanup for them is 2 to 3:30.
Okay, so it's still 2.
3:30, and the event is 3:30 to 6.
So everybody's an hour and a half volunteers, and
exactly.
And we were creating a Google Doc or a document
That's
registration.
what
Google survey.
Survey of the registration.
Yeah.
So we know, and then we're gonna reach out to on point to order to do I guess an hour before time do a 1 o'clock sweep first of this hazardous materials in these areas, and then other folks with it. So it's almost about a give or take 3 hour and a half, 4 hour event. Is that correct, Chair?
Yeah, I mean, to be clarity, the nonprofits, right, like Sabros and Knights, AOC, Los Quedamos, 2 to 3:30 for cleanup only. It's only cleanup, right? The Third Avenue bid, we have a different schedule because they do cleanup and the event. So
No, but I'm
yeah,
just saying that his recommendation, which makes sense to me, is that for the committee is that we should invite on point to hazardous material only.
oh yeah, for that, yeah, they
An
have
hour
to.
in advance.
Yes, it had to be doing
And
in
then
advance.
we'll go from there. We will do the rest ourselves.
Yes. That they will be separate. They will be sort of like making sure nothing happens, right? So
Only
one,
an hour in advance, but they're not going to be doing it in the
no,
same
no, no, they're not
at
gonna
the
be
same
there at
time.
the same time.
Right.
So once we know that they did, they did the walkthrough and everything's
I don't
fine.
know if they got anybody else has thoughts about.
Yeah.
That
Any
question.
discussion? Any thoughts?
I have a thought about On Point. So they would be coming an hour before, right, to clean up any hazardous material.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we gonna like emphasize the importance of them doing that during our cleanup? I feel like it's important to give them a shout out, or just let people know of On Point and what they do, because that seems like important work.
Yeah. I mean,
Right now, they're having the discussion with China. We still have 2 hours to do programming. So that's still there. That hasn't been fully planned. So we could have on point talk for like 10 minutes, you know, around 4 o'clock when the event happens, right? So they could talk about this, their their organization, what they do. So the idea for from 46 is to have nonprofits and other people talk about environmental justice and sanitation. So we have a projector, it's our brothers tonight to talk about their waterfront plan, right? And all the things that they're doing, and Nos Quedamos as well, right? You could invite people, but that hasn't been fully planned, so you could come to the meeting when we are planning those things, right? So we could have on point talk for like 10 minutes after the cleanup is done. So the whole idea is to ask the volunteers to what they've done with cleanup at 3:30. They could walk to Roberto Clemente Square if they want to, right? So they give out half an hour between it.
and to add what the
Yeah.
chair is saying, the community board has worked very closely thanks to Stephen's leadership and with the executive director of On Point to Mr. Sam Rivera to study the issue around the fentanyl and heroin situation. The Committee of Health and Human Services has held extended hearings about it. Been very much of a learning point for myself as a DM to understand about the overproliferation of how fentanyl has been flooding our community at the most highest eviction rate than any other community in any other borough in New York City. And so we've been working closely with them as a partner to understand this issue, they have committed to working closely with the community board on this and multiple issues. So I'm glad to hear about their work and thanks for Matt for sharing that. So that we because this is definitely goes hand in hand with how I was trying to work on that puzzle about how we're going to protect our volunteers and the chairman's desire to work with the community. Because as you look what we are doing with Nostradamus, but I mean, all the partner agencies. We're in Mott Haven, we're in Port Morris and Melrose purposely to look at not only saying that the garbage is situated or the sanitation issue is situated in one part of the district, but we're looking at a multifaceted Melrose, Nostradamus, South Bronx Unite has their side of the district. Let's kind of bring all these environmental justice families together to say that we all have a responsibility during the special period of Earth Day to make sure that we focus on one of the most biggest issues in our district is uh, mental health and cleanliness to really bring home the importance of what we can only depend on the city or others to have a solution for the problem that's been going on for a long time, but we are putting together this as a solution to it, and hopefully it'll become a campaign for education for of this ongoing past Earth Day of communities joining, seeing all of these organizations really rocking and doing stuff to really help keep our community clean and bring some standards into beautifying this community, because I think this Earth Day is not only a time to clean up, but it's also for renewal. Spring is coming, the air is different, the birds are singing a little bit more louder, and we're planting some plants or trees or other stuff is coming up. I'm not saying we're doing that shit, I'm not adding more to to get you nervous, but to say that, a lot of stuff happens with, bulbs are planted, things are coming and happening. So this is amazing, and I really can't emphasize enough of that, how that now I can exhale a little bit better to know that hopefully this works out.
It will work out. It will work out.
Send them a message right
So
now.
one thing is, so this committee has Green Corp site, Community Board Green Corp site that we formed last year, and they
which
so
I'm not gonna say game shirts, but yeah, I just said it already. But yeah, the shirt that says Green Courts CB1 green and white lighting.
so in the background is a green planet, is a clean planet as a background. So was that later? That's later on, right?
Yeah. But it is in the budget already for that to happen.
Awesome. Yeah, so we thinking that we putting all this
That
together.
was his first. I mean, joke a little bit. That was his first thing. Is like, I got my team got these shirts. I was like, and that's why I never wore my shirts ever again from the office. but no, it's seriously, it's to recognize the importance of rocking on a green tip. Oh, they're gonna making some music. Okay. On that shirt, the importance of this stuff.
Yeah, question?
What day is this cleanup for?
April 12th, and then rainy day is April 19th. If it rains, it will be April 19th.
Got Miss Chow. She's coming. She's ready. She's like, you ready to
So
come out,
Bronx
right?
Blooming could
Well,
do St. Mary's.
I was gonna wonder, like, if I wanted to talk to my team about, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys are like closing off further partnerships. but
No, if
we
you
do
could
a
bring
lot
more
of-
materials, we
We
want
have
you
a
there.
lot of grabbers. It's St. Mary's. We do a lot of work there. In April, we're starting every other Friday a Friday stewardship event from 10 to 1. So we do a lot of work in that park. And potentially, I know we have a lot going on April 12th, but we potentially would want to be involved if possible. So I don't know who I should contact, but
You will contact me.
okay.
Go take my email.
I'll take your email after. Yeah.
Okay. So right now this is the cleanup updates, and then I put dog poop map. I thought poop was funny, and also a lot of people say poop in my neighborhood. So dog feet is kind of
Don't get us started.
Yeah, okay, the
so.
dog feces situation, we discussed that last time. And we're developing a map.
So that's what I'm going to show you right now.
Okay.
So it's going to be online, but so this is the map, right? This is right here is a survey, right? I know I was listening to you, Matthew, about the address, but that's difficult because if somebody puts their own address, it doesn't record. So that was a concern. I've done that before. Or people miss a letter, they miss something, it doesn't automatically put the pointer. So that's the reason why I tried to put just here. So, but you have to do some training, which like the person had to put the spot, right? So
Excuse me.
so the idea. So we say, what's the point of the use of word? I'm gonna use it. Sorry, Stephen. Poop map. People thought it was funny. You need something catchy, right? So poop map, and then what it does is like I'll give you an example. Actually, you do it. Fill out the survey. You can pick any site, fill it out.
I am going to choose the No Skedamos office space because sometimes people don't pick it up to their dog there.
Good call.
Okay, I put down the marker. Everybody see me put down the marker? Now in the top right, I press OK, and I'll summarize what I saw. There was dog poop in front of the office space, or you can mention the sidewalk, and you can mention how much of a distraction it is, and so on and so forth. And below the summarization of what you saw, you can take a picture of the area of where you saw
You can
said
take a
poop.
picture here.
I'll take a picture.
Yeah, anyway. Here.
It's a selfie.
Yeah.
You wouldn't send them a selfie. And then you would mark the date of the survey, which is today, February 19th, or whatever day you do fill out the survey. And you submit it.
Nice. No, it's an internal document he created for
Okay,
the community board.
so, let me understand this. You are gonna be sending us all an email with the link of that survey so that we could complete it? Is that how it's gonna work?
Yeah. So right now I'm going to show you a little bit of how this works. So this is the map, right? That's a survey. So when you update the map, right? You see the second point? We just did that right now.
Okay.
It automatically puts it.
So the map is
And
gonna
you
show
saw that?
all the
The
different
picture.
points.
Yeah.
You automatically
So the
update.
idea of the map is to show the points of where we are noticing the dog feces. the most.
Exactly.
Okay. That's, okay. So we're gonna be waiting for your survey,
Yeah,
right?
so what's gonna happen, we're gonna have a selected few that will do this, right? RG, me, Matthew, all the people, selected few, because the concern is that people might put other stuff there when they take a picture. So it's not being spread out to the whole community. It's people that are responsible, or they're gonna take it serious, right? So it's being put out there, so I could train your RG, right?
Okay,
On how
yes,
to do that, and
you
when you have
definitely
some time.
can.
So then you have access to that.
Mhm.
You create your thing, put down the stuff, and I could do it myself, right? And then we could start populating those things, right?
Okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I just want to understand clearly. So that means that I'll take a picture of where I know that there's dog feces.
Exactly.
And when the survey comes, I can include like just the way you showed us just now.
Mhm.
Understood. Okay, understood. I'm gonna be doing that. And, you finished? I don't want to interrupt you.
No, if you got what were you saying?
That situation is something that obviously I've been advocating about for a long time. And, um, I think that's a good survey, and it's gonna be good to show those points. I think there'll be a lot of pictures at. I really do, because in our district, in our whole area, the dog situation with people not picking up is totally devastating. Okay, now, what I'm doing is I am getting in touch with different levels of trying to find out how can we hold these people, what kind of accountability is being practiced in our community and district for that situation. Because I really feel that to get to the root of this problem and solving it, that's something that has to be done. Um, we need to make sure that the law is being enforced. It's the law. And we just finished talking about the cleanup days and the cleanup that we're gonna be doing, which I think is great. But my concern is that after we clean up, it won't be long before it gets just as dirty again.
It will.
Okay,
Well.
at the community garden that I'm in
Yeah.
Melrose, right across the street from Los Quedamos, we, when the weather as soon as sprinkle, we sweep up there every day. Every morning, our manager sweeps up, and by the time the afternoon comes, it's as dirty all over again.
Exactly.
You see, we've got the signs up, please pick up after your dog. We've got the dog pool little bags so that people, to make it easy for them. And there is no, we're not getting results. So I'm in touch now with I'll be going to a meeting at the precinct, and The community officers are gonna be levied, which I didn't know this, but I understand there's an environmental officer that is supposed to be making patrols. Now, I didn't know that exists, but I'm going to be getting in touch with them. Um, I am networking with like the park rangers over at St. Mary's, and they're gonna be working along with me with that situation. I'm going around and talking to even tenant associations about that because I noticed, for example, in the NYCHA houses, there's a situation going on. You've got people bringing their dogs from their private houses, and they feel because that's NYCHA, public housing, then it's okay to use that grass. Okay, but I'm also uh, on my own talking to the people at the museum, at our local libraries, and the maintenance workers tell me that every morning when they come, they literally speaking have to have a special shovel just for the dog poop. But again, my main point is I don't understand why isn't the law being enforced in our district. And when you start hitting people in their pockets, I do believe that something will happen. You can't go downtown and not pick up after your dog because you will get a $200 fine. Try going to the museum downtown and don't pick up after your dog, okay? Or even to Central Park and don't pick up after your dog. And I guarantee you that they were doing that at one point at Francigo Park, and it had stopped for a while. Okay, because these dog walkers they communicate with each other. Word gets around when you start hitting them in their pockets. They're gonna start finding us if we don't pick up after our dogs. And that was the one thing that was starting to work. But I don't know what happened. It stopped.
I was sorry for stopping you. Okay. In psychology, environmental psychology, right? You have to see. I've seen it in Guatemala and things like that, in other places. There was one of the Nostradamus, maybe one of the students mentioned it. It's like people are very social creatures. We're social creatures. So, what one person, what one city did was they had kids, right, painting steps top with the trash, right, and then it has steps and they also painted the trash can, right, because psychologically it oriented the person to go to the trash can, right. The other one has to do with this mentality of broken window mentality, things like that. So you also have this mentality like if somebody throws the trash and another person sees it, they follow along as well. So I'm trying to do multiple things, multiple psychology and using these things. That's the reason for to try to do the three major cleanups per year. Consistency. Try to do it 2 or 3 years consistency to say that we're not gonna stop. It's a little bit organizing as well, right? Because if I this has happened before, so my something fell out of my pocket, and then it was litter, and I picked up the litter and I put it in the garbage can. And there was people watching me. There was also kids watching me, and then psychologically the kid put the stuff in the garbage can. See that? So we also had to do that as well as community members, right? Because in NYCHA, I have lived in NYCHA for like since '89. So I see this all the time. So I see people with they poop out there. That's me. People say feces, but I say poop out there, right? And then other people see that as well, and then react out of that, and they do the same thing. So for me, it's a multiple layer thing that I also have to do action myself. One thing that I was thinking of for as a test is to have 200 people in a community going around and just picking up things in front of people, right? It's sad to say, but it's conditioning. We are conditioned in this world, right? And seeing those things. That's because that's my background. I went to science school before that. I also studied a little bit environmental psychology, right? Show actions, right? And also having enforcement. The only issue that I have with enforcing rules is that in NYCHA, I live in NYCHA, it take years, and then all these things, bureaucracies and all these things. By the time I get,
Honestly, I
yeah,
don't want to
it's
interrupt.
like a mixed thing.
It's not that I want to interrupt you. I grew up in Niger.
Yeah,
I remember when I was a kid, it was kept very clean.
yeah,
Okay? If you were caught throwing something out the window, you were evicted. That's how strict they were. You couldn't even stand on that grass when I was a kid.
yeah. But
Okay.
I'd say,
And
so,
I wish
yeah,
those regulations could come on
yeah,
back. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. So I think, yeah, anybody who didn't pick up after their dog, not only did they give them a fine, they used to pound that animal and take it away from them, period. That's how strict they were. Okay?
yeah,
And I think, so my main goal is to make sure that the law starts to get enforced,
yeah,
like the way it gets enforced in all the other neighborhoods.
yeah,
Okay, like I said, you can't go downtown and do that. They'll find you so fast it won't even be funny, okay? And all over. So why should we in our neighborhood, in our district, have to put up with that? And
yeah.
that's the main thing. I see the psychological aspect that you're talking about, and yeah, we could try that. But the bottom line is, it seems to me that as long as people know that they can get away with it, they're going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, Archie, that's exactly where like a good balance of it, right? Because I'm gonna personally, right? I don't like. That's a personal thing from where I came from, where I live. It does like I don't like over policing. I don't like when you're forced to abide by rules, right? In what I learned in a lot of societies, they act towards it. They rebel towards it. It's a lot of rebellion. So you have to have for me, it's always been a good balance with enforcement, but also non-enforcement in which that we take responsibility for our actions because, and then usually the example that I come up with is Guatemala. Guatemala doesn't have any resources in my neighborhood. You talk about in here, you got a truck that passes by with the Department of Sanitation. Forget that. Over there, you don't have that. Money, corruption for legislators, right? All these things. So that's the reason why I'm saying these things to have a combination of, you know, showing people and also enforcement. So we it's not an argument towards you, but you're saying like also having that as well, you know. So using having a two-pronged approach, so this actually keeps moving forward. Yeah,
I would say the tool looks amazing. It's very simple to use, very user friendly. Um, thanks to your GIS expertise, and thank you for taking the time to make this important tool. Looking forward to this. Uh, what do you call it? A test run phase right now for this tool. I'm looking forward to it regardless, and it's important. It's important to have data on the map, and yeah, so it's a powerful tool that we can use collectively.
so the two final things I would say from my part, one of them is like the 311 thing should happen all the time. Remember you were mentioning that at your meeting?
Yeah.
That should happen all the time. I think we should use 311 for anything. So it could be bombarded with 311s. This is more for our local level to show elected officials and everybody that we got data. We're not talking BS here. It's data that proves this thing. I went to a science school and I went to planning school. We need data that proves this. Facts, not misinformation. Facts. This is what's happening in the neighborhood. we're not relying on outside sources that are not going to do much about it, or we got an analysis that shows that this is what's happening. That's the whole reason for this. So all of these things are happening now because I only got 2 years left, right? Because by the 10th year, I 10 will be up here. But my whole point here is to build that infrastructure for the next person to build it up on that. So first one is having cleanup time most of the time, at least 2 per year. Having poop map to tell the community board that data is important, right? This is an example of how data could be used to say we're not talking anecdotes. This is what's happening. There's proof of it, right? Things like that. So that's my approach, and that's one of the goals that we need to have in a committee, right? When I'm gone, and then hopefully Elijah.
I'll find. We're
So
gonna create a line
okay.
of successors.
Okay, we done with that. Any okay. So, huh? Any announcements?
The question, I'm sending this, about to send this email to Encore MSC. So the AOC location for the cleanup is 138th Street, and what's the intersection that they decided?
So 138th Street for Willis to Bruckner,
Okay. Between Willis and
between Willis and Bruckner.
Wait, Bruckner?
Bruckner.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean to the bridge.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
I mean, sorry, Cypress. That close to Cypress.
Between Willis and Cypress.
Yeah. I mean, I said Bruckner first.
Okay.
And the other one is yours, and the other one is Loretta Clemente Square Plaza. In a little bit of Nostradamus they will be working with Third Avenue bid.
Okay.
So and then so they will have a little bit of Loretta Clemente Square is a merge.
Thank
you. Yeah, okay. Anybody else? So motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Let's second this motion.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Discussion? No discussion? Okay, meeting adjourned. Yeah! I don't know what I'm saying.